pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairperson, I'm going to pull your consent calendar. It was not posted within the 72-hour timeframe, so we will have those on your February 22nd agenda. So
Excellent. We'll jump from D to C. Okay. Public appearances, B1. Matters not appearing on the agenda. If you wish to address the Planning Commission concerning any item not appearing on the agenda and within the Commission's jurisdiction, please raise your hand and be acknowledged by the chairperson. At that time, state your name and address for the record. The chairperson reserves the right to place a time limit on each person's presentation of 3 minutes. It is requested that longer presentations be submitted to the Commission in writing. Is there anybody here this evening that wishes to address the Commission that is not an item that is not currently on the agenda? No. All right. Move on from that. And we're already on the second page. Yeehaw. All right. So we don't have that. Public hearing, discussion, action. Recommend deny. E1, subject, public hearing, discussion, action. Recommend recommend Planning Commission approval of general plan amendment, zone change, subdivision, revision to the Morningstar tentative tract map and certifying a negative declaration for APN 063-010-089. Is that right, since it said City Council on there first?
it is the correct number. It's just needed to be amended.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
So at this time, I'm going to open public hearing. Staff report.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before we start, I just want to make sure that you have access to the documents. I know it's about 674 pages. I number all of them, so I think we're going to go back and forth with a few documents. But if I may, if you can go to page 15, that's the original Morningstar subdivision map.
15?
Yes.
Can I just push a button that says go to 15? All right, go ahead and start. I'll catch up.
Okay. So this development was previously owned by Macmillan Land Development, and they submitted an application back in 2005 to annex and subdivide 181.7 acres site into 489 single-family homes, a school site, and 2 park sites. The project is located on the southwest corner of Highway 86 and the prolongation of Ralph Road within the area north of the city. Back then, the applicant requested a general plan amendment to change the land use designation to low medium density residential and pre-zoning designation of R1, which is residential single family. Now, the current owner and developer is now proposing a general plan amendment, zone change, and revisions to the tentative map for the city's consideration. The proposed changes and revisions will eliminate the school site, which is approximately 10.8 acres, which is not needed by the Imperial School District. And you can see that on the attached letter from the school district. And will create 5.93 acres of residential apartments and 14.93 acres for commercial uses. The overall footprint will remain the same. If you can take a look at the conditions of approval, the Imperial County Fire Department is requesting, on the conditions of approval, a capital purchase of a fire engine as a condition of approval. The developer does not agree with this condition and is requesting the Planning Commission consider recommending the project without the imposed condition of approval. And the developer is here to answer any questions that you may have in that regards. The applicant requesting the general plan amendment to change the land use designation will allow a full range of retail, office, service, and institutional businesses within the close proximity for the convenience of the residents. The city's goals is to establish and encourage commercial areas along the city's main Highway 86 to serve as a strong character and identification gateway to the city and draw a regional sales tax base. The Environmental Evaluation Committee reviewed the project and found that the proposed project will create a potentially significant impacts to transportation and traffic. The applicant provided an updated traffic study and all the mitigation measures were incorporated. The public hearing schedule for tonight was duly noticed in the Hopeville Tribune and Calexico Chronicle in the newspaper of general circulation on January 26, 2023. And notice of a public hearing was mailed within the 300 feet radius. Staff recommends the Planning Commission conduct public hearing to receive comments for and against the project, and unless sufficient evidence to the contrary is presented at the public hearing, staff recommends approval of resolution number PC 2023-02, approving the general plan amendment, zone change, and revisions to the tentative map. And I'll stand for any.
Commissioners?
Apartments, what type of apartments, for what type of specific income level? Or I'd like to know that, because people who would be living there would be interested in that.
What's being proposed is what's allowed in the development standards, but the applicant is here to answer those specific questions. They may probably going to apply for so low income housing funding, but he has the specifics on this.
Right now, we're just doing a pre-zone. We don't have at this point in time. Have specific segments of land that are needed.
The apartment land is going to be a buffer in between the commercial land and the single family residential. So we don't have any detailed projects right now of what's going to go in it exactly.
Okay, well, good and well, but if the council decides to approve your request of a change from residential to commercial and apartment structure, does the city allow that if someone comes in and says, I'm just setting up my ground for apartments, then when I come to that point, I can decide if it's going to be low income or Section 8 or other kinds of things. Does it allow that?
It does. It's actually that's actually one of the goals under the housing element, to bring more low income housing within the city.
Right, but these houses are gonna.
They're going to go down in value. Okay, you know why? Because most people in low income housing, they have lots of cars. I see it right when I'm coming on Worthington, for those ones that were built at Worthington and La Boucherie. They don't have enough parking for the people, so they're all taking up street parking. That diminishes the value of people who went and bought single family residence homes.
The people who purchased the single residence homes, were they notified of a potential plan change?
Right now, there's no single-family residence homes anywhere near where this land is being designed. It's off on the north side of the hotel, so this is on a future phase. It's not anywhere near where we're building.
Where you're building it? Okay.
It's someone's we send up the notice within 300 feet radius. I do believe some of the homeowners were able to get some of the notice, correct.
We have a master plan on our wall though, so when we sell houses, everybody knows what's happening, irregardless of whether it's a mixed income. Pretty much all apartments these days are mixed income. You know, so irregardless of what it is, it will never bring the value down. Like the apartments and the commercial, and that being a new hub for the city of Imperial to operate their commercial facilities. It's where the doctor's offices are going to be, the restaurants. So our houses are actually selling for higher per square foot than any other house in Imperial right now, just because of the lot size and the area.
And the one story.
Yeah, all single story. We don't even allow a 2-story in our development at this time. So we're not really worried about the values. We feel like this is going to bring the value up for everybody. And just to add one thing, we didn't initiate this zone change. This city was a city initiated zone change. So the city approached us and asked us to change this land to commercial when the school wasn't. The school doesn't want to have a school site that close to Highway 86 anymore because you guys are all aware of the traffic issues that come from where the school is located right now because they don't have enough space to get the cars off the road, you know, and the stoplights and everything. So they didn't want anything to do with that school site. So when that happened, naturally the Highway 86 land is the natural place for the commercial stuff to go, you know. So when they were working with the apartments and all of the new deals that were coming, they approached us and asked us to start a zone change to get it to commercial. We started this 2 years ago. Honestly, it's been held up because of Caltrans. So Caltrans took a really, really long time to get through. Otherwise, we would have been talking to you guys a long time ago.
And just to confirm what Mr. Robin is saying, you know, the city's plan for the development of the North End corridor is to be able to have a strategic vision as to commercial abutting 86. Obviously, unlike some other areas within our city, you then want to have multifamily, which is what's being proposed here, to be that buffer between the commercial and single family residential. And in terms of master planning, that's kind of the ideal situation. We are looking at multiple avenues as this is not built out yet, but we've looked at even considerations of student housing. There's a lot of opportunity with this, but first comes this step here. Just to tack on, Commissioner Body, if you're concerned about parking, that's something we can certainly address when it comes time to review it at that point, just to make sure there's adequate parking for what we're building when we get there.
Housing, they parking. So the overflow. Okay, it's called economic scale. Okay, so people do like in college, you know, you sleep on the couch, on the floor, or whatever, and share a piece of the cost for the rent, right? And you obviously have a vehicle to get to work. Okay, so where's the control? The street is public.
Yeah, in terms of that, the control comes when obviously, and I can say for myself, in living in an apartment, you have a certain amount of vehicles that are allowed for your specific unit. And
that's part of the contract.
And as anything else, it's public street parking, and so that is.
So you have the overflow.
Right. Good. We can address more of that in commissioner reports if we want to. This man wants to. Yeah, please.
Well, I think it's more for staff. Did county fire offer any sort of spec on the costs of the purchase of the fire engine?
I do believe they mentioned the amount. It's a little bit over $1 million, like $1.2 million.
But then I
I gotta be honest with you guys for a second here. From a legal standpoint, they have no right to offer a fire truck. We've already went down that road with our legal people. Anything that they ask for, we pay for it through our impact fees and everything. There's not a separate fund that they could just come in and say, give us a fire truck, you know? And at this point in time, there's multiple 3-story projects that are happening right now in the city that they didn't say anything about. You know, you have the senior 3-story project over here. You have the 3-story project that the New York people are doing over here that we have nothing to do with, you know? And then all of a sudden we come in to do a project and they make a note that they want the Robins and the Duggins and the Barrionis to buy them a fire truck, you know? Everybody else agrees that it's egregious and, you know, out of control. That's why we're here and that's why it's being recommended for approval. But unfortunately, they've gotten away with it a couple times with some solar deals and some other things that they just kind of, you know, made them do it or they don't want to approve their project, you know? But I mean, from a legal standpoint, we're going through an impact fee review right now. If they need a fire truck, they need to address that like everybody else does on their fees and then have that put into the impact report and have it adjusted and be paid for through there. You don't single out one developer and ask them for a fire truck.
Well, your comments are not falling on deaf ears, sir.
Yeah, so
So I
that's
completely.
that's my very polite way of putting it.
Well, I could think of other terminology. Yeah, no. So it's we will give it considerable discussion.
Thank you.
So, but other than that, though, everything else in the document seems to be fine, other than number 11.
Yeah, no, everything's good. I mean, it's all standard stuff that you would normally do in a development, and this package has been ready to go for a long time. So we've went through this over and over and over again. Like I said, it was just Caltrans that stopped it. This is going to be a great development for the city. Some of the apartments that we'll do will help get the stoplight and the Ralph Road built out, and then you have that entire north end right there. They have the 60,000 square foot inner care that's going over there. That's going to be a pace, and that'll probably draw some senior housing and stuff like that. So I think that once we get this done, this is going to be the domino effect that leads to all the other things that you're already kind of seeing but not really seeing that are happening in the background right now. So we're pretty happy about it.
Yeah, massive traffic study attached to this. Is that what you were waiting for from Caltrans?
Not at all. We did the traffic study, and that's a normal thing for the projects. The problem is because the fact that our project is on Ralph Road, and when you leave Ralph Road, that city limit, entering into Caltrans, technically you're entering into the Caltrans right away. If we wouldn't have been right there and just stayed at any other part, a different, a little bit, say where Necco Road was at, right? We wouldn't be having this conversation because the city controls Highway 86 and they have already approved all this. And anything, you can have a conversation with Caltrans and they'll be like, oh, you know what? You're so right. I don't know why this is like this. We're gonna, we should approve this. And then 6 months later, you're like, hey, where's that guy that said that we were right and, you're gonna approve this? Like, you can never really get them to put anything in writing, But finally, after 2 years of working with them, they agreed that there's a process that still has to happen. It's called the ICE process, intersection controlled something. Basically, they want you to do a study on whether you should do a stoplight or a roundabout. And there's no way of getting away from this study. You have to do it. And it's probably going to take another year and a half for me to get through that study with Caltrans. But we got them to agree that, hey, unless you allow us to do this rezone, there's nothing to even talk about. It's like the cart before the horse. I can't have a commercial project and an apartment project without land that's zoned for apartments and commercial. So therefore, I can't even complete an ICE study. So let us approve it based on the fact that we're going to go straight into the ICE study, and whatever it says we're going to do right there, we have to do before we do an apartment project or a Albertsons or whatever that might look like. So we've been through it all. Now we're just trying to get through fire.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna, just for simple people like myself, is where did the fire truck come from? I mean, what
In there.
is that part of the ICE technique?
No,
No.
Yeah,
No.
Imperial County Fire suggested it, right? So Imperial County Fire is hired and is the city fire department. And it is somewhat routine at the county to ask for things like this, depending on what you're building. But you'll see term number 6 says all impact fees will be paid. And I assume there's a hefty fire fee in that.
There's a fire fee. I don't know if it's that high.
No, it's not that
Or
high, but it
But
is
it-
appropriately assessed for the project.
Yeah, when you accumulate it to,
Yes.
to 2 apartment projects, 14 acres, I don't know, that's a couple 100,000 square feet of commercial space. There is going to be hefty fees on all of that, And
Yes.
we're going into meetings and discussing what those impact fees are. I mean, there's a standard that you have right now, and then there's where they're trying to take it. So in the future, when we're doing this, I assume it's going to be much higher than where we're at now. We by no means say that we don't want to pay what we owe or anything like that. We just say that we shouldn't be the only person that pays for the whole dang thing,
Because other people benefit from it. Dang it, I
Everybody.
don't think that fire truck's gonna be parked at your place 24/7.
And here's the thing, the fire truck that they want is a ladder truck to cover 3-story buildings. We're not proposing building a single 3-story building. All of our apartments, hopefully all of our apartments will stay 2-story. And who does 3-story commercial in the Imperial Valley? Like, we build it all. I'm telling you, it's nowhere. It got tore down one time at Valley Plaza, a long time ago.
Yeah, that's
That's
fine.
it.
And again, I just wanted to at least cover
Yeah,
I
no,
wanted to go
so
down
I
that
appreciate
avenue.
the question.
I wanted
Yeah.
to be out there. It's like because I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody at home's wondering where did a fire truck come from.
Is there a problem with the aerial the city currently owns?
No.
Because they own the tallest aerial ladder in the entire county right now.
So just to kind of provide a little bit of context to this as well, and don't jump in if I forget something. When it comes to, as Mr. Robin indicated, we're in the process of reviewing our development impact fees and how those are assessed. We identify those capital expenditures such as what's needed, fire trucks, replacement, maintenance, etc. They're all inclusive of that because we need that to arrive at the fee in which we charge developers at that time. There are mechanisms that allow for, if you would say, an in lieu of situation, meaning rather than paying fees, there's a capital purchase that's identified in that study. The city of Imperial does not have that type of mechanism as of yet, and it would go through considerable conversation with the developers and be a collaboration as to how we arrive at what that looks like. In the interim, we have our fee study, we have that established, it's been assessed as to what the Robins in this instance will be paying to the city in terms of impact, and in that it is more than fair as to what should be a part of their project. And that would be our recommendation. So as to the purchase of an additional piece of equipment, you have that in front of you as to what that would be.
Okay, any other questions? And that's not about the fire engine? Unless somebody has another question about fire engines. No? Staff, you happy with everything's in here? Happy with the traffic? I mean, I was reading the traffic study and I think I actually passed out or thought I was in an Egyptian tomb or something going through it. So you're the expert. Is it good?
All
right.
mitigation measures are included in there.
I will take your word for it. Anything else? You have anything else you'd like to state before I close the public hearing portion?
Not at all. I mean, we're happy about the project. If we've got everything in the file in order, I hopefully you guys will approve it.
All right, this time I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this. All right, commissioners. I think we need to scratch number 11 because it's not there. It's something that should be spread out between all the developers. And frankly, just like police cars, fire engines are assets the city just has to purchase from time to time, and that's just the way it goes. And so, yeah. And like you're saying, develop an impact fee plan where that money can be squirreled away because you only have to replace them every 10 or 12 years, depending on how much use they get. Longer than that for some big piece of equipment like that. It hasn't exactly been getting stressed in the city of Imperial. In fact, it's probably the biggest problem is lack of use. So anyway, if we had nothing else, we can recommend a motion to approve APN 063-010-089 with the removal of number 11. I hear a motion for that.
I move to approve the general plan amendment zone change subdivision revision to the but striking item 11 with respect to the Imperial County Fire Department is requesting a capital purchase of a fire engine.
Been moved and seconded. Call for the vote. There it is.
Carries 4-0.
All right, motion approved. You're off to the races.
Welcome.
That was 50 times more complicated than the patio, yet took a tenth of the time.
It's
You got 74 megabytes of backup there just to make
Yeah.
sure that you
You
got all the
have.
Tell you what.
information.
More photos.
Once I saw that, I was like, yeah, it's approved. I was like, oh.
Community development
Yeah.
staff have done, yes, they've done a great job.
I think that's one of the biggest ones I've ever seen come through, actually.
We had to figure out how to
More
get it
common.
to you all.
All right, staff reports. What do we have?
I have nothing to add tonight. Thank you.
No.
None of them.
Anything on this end?
Nothing for me.
No? Well, that's gonna make it easy. All right, commissioners' reports. Commissioner Abadi?
Well,
Want to address parking?
We're coming to the spring. Miss Alexis? Yes. Would you be able to let us know when you think the landscaping will start to?
Yes, some of that has been initiated. So I know that the trees, in terms of some donated ones, have been procured and received. So staff, they've been doing a bit of cleanup in some areas over in Monterey specifically. So that's been happening, and I know that it is the next item on the project list, pending nothing significant happens. Yes.
The other one is going south on the Bushery from Ayton Road along the sunflower, not sunflower, the wallflower northwest. I know on my property tax bill I pay a landscape lighting line item, and I would think that maybe somebody will come along and pull out the weeds and pick up the trash. Okay, I noticed it today when I was this morning. It's kind of nice, you know, since I pay taxes and everybody else in that area pays a line item for landscape lighting, that pick out the weeds in the trash, and it's not from the homeless that live in the reservoir. If it's on the agenda, on the department that takes care of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
We'll look at the.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking, I don't think I've ever seen that on my property tax bill. I'm wondering if that's varies depending on the subdivision there.
It's there's a portion of that that does fall into a lighting and landscaping district. There's also a portion of that that's the abandoned, what we refer to as the La Fuente properties. So that kind of straddle that portion there. So we just need to see where things are, but we can most certainly, if it's within our jurisdiction, we can handle that. If it's within the current property owner's area of that subdivision that we're working with, we can contact them for abatement purposes that they need to get things cleaned up.
I'm pretty sure and by the developer and probably as part of their development, and that's where they put all the sidewalk with this Bushery widening. So those plants just get the weeds. It's even growing up in the sidewalk, and you see that also on Ayton Road, where you guys put in all the trees and the nice bushes and like that. You got weeds growing up through the cracks of the sidewalk. Just go out there with a weed whacker.
Harvey, have any like to report on? Commissioner Rivera,
Yeah, I do have a
6 or
La
12 minutes?
Brucherie. Yeah, La Brucherie and Ayton. When you're going north on La Brucherie, you make left. You make the left to go west on Ayton. There's a hole every time you make that left-hand turn. One of your tires is going to hit left, or is going to hit that hole, and it's just gotten
So
progressively
it's
bigger.
a pothole.
No,
Yeah,
it's not
big.
that big, but it's
Yeah.
that's where it's
Yeah.
that's where it's headed. It's continuously gotten. Can we make a note of that and take a look at that when we get a chance?
Say that to public.
Especially now with everybody wanting to go down that thoroughfare with the new road and whatnot down there.
Nice and smooth.
I did not check today because of my my automotive challenges. I will, for the next meeting, I will check to see if the shade on the playground in Monterey. We're working on it.
Yes,
Yes.
that
All right.
was,
And then had brought up the Villas Serena apartments, the graffiti that started to crop up here in the last couple of weeks for our crime fighters within the city, our gentlemen, our boys in blue can start tracking those names. And did we ever follow up anything on whether the striping at Mirador and Brewer was working?
in terms of line of sight,
Yeah, line of sight.
I can say, judging by the fact that we haven't had vehicle collisions, I would
That's always
say
the
that's
first.
kind of the proof that we've got. Yes.
Actually, we received a couple of phone calls saying that, great job to the city because, before they weren't able to see coming traffic, so they were glad that happened.
Mhm.
I actually used that intersection not too long ago, and I was like, I can see. That's nice. It's working.
That was great.
The distance we did were pretty close to on.
Just following up on that, there was no follow up, and again the obvious. We haven't had any major traffic collisions. I did have another list, but with everything that happened this afternoon, I'm gonna close that.
Lost your list?
I lost my list with this too. Borrowing somebody's with my notes.
So our ghost hotel, I mean, I guess they're in there working in the interior.
On the specifics, we have the old building inspector here on site.
So how's the interior coming? I mean, it seems like I don't see a lot of crews there working on it. I mean, it's a lot of building in there, so it just seems like it.
They're going. It's a little bit slow. I know that they are waiting on the fire alarm plan still. They have replaced all the plumbing inside the building from top to bottom. All the electrical on the fourth floor is installed in the rooms. I was there today. The third floor electrical is installed now, so they're working slowly, but it's going to get done, and it's going to be a nice hotel in the end.
I was just kind of thought we'd see like larger numbers of people there working to get it cranked out.
Yeah, most of the framing is completed, so it's not like a major part of the hotel needs to be worked on. It's just plumbing, electrical, HVAC. There's a couple of framing details that need to be addressed here and there, but nothing major. So
Right, just upgrading everything that was out of compliance from when it was built before, and getting other stuff done, and
So, Chairman, what I will say, and what I'm sure everyone can appreciate, the cost in order to mobilize equipment, staff, and those individuals, those skilled trades, is significant. And this is a planned 22-acre site, and trying to consolidate into the permits that they're going to be submitting. So doing what they can within what they have currently, and working with our community development department, and our building inspector. But what you will be able to see is once they do mobilize, it won't just be the hotel, and there will be a lot of things happening within that area.
the idea is to get the hotel finished and open, even though some of the other stuff is still under construction, though, right? I mean, we don't want to.
Yes, ideally, but in terms of getting that, it'll be a quick outside facade, I would say, and then the rest of the things under construction. But then all crews are mobilized and on site, so they're able to, in quick succession, to move through those buildings as they get approved through our community development.
We're holding them up with the permits, is what you're telling me?
Nope, not at all.
You're determined to see a lot of people over there, aren't you?
Well, I just kind of it's nice to see something going on. I just was being curious. I've been looking at that for a long time. I mean, my daughter started college when it was under construction, and it was still not finished 4 years later when she finished, and she's been out for 4 years since. So, yeah, she was like, "The hotel's not done yet." I'm like, "Oh, but 1 degree later, it's not finished." So, Anyway, that's it for me. I'll keep it easy. So with that, I will adjourn 7:06. I will adjourn this meeting of the Imperial Planning Commission.